Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about the HQ challenge number 37. It's going to deal with extubation. All right, so your patient has successfully been liberated from mechanical ventilation. I'm going to stop right there. Liberating from the vent or weaning from the vent is completely separate from extubation. They are two different procedures. So the first sentence in this question tells me the patient doesn't need the vent anymore. They've been successfully liberated. When you perform the cuff leak test, okay, so that tells me we're preparing for extubation to see if we can extubate. Every ET tube, no matter the patient population, should leak with the cuff deflated, or if there's not a cuff, there should always be a leak before you extubate the patient, okay? So you note that the exhaled tidal volume with the cuff inflated is 500. So the vent pushes a breath, it goes down to the patient's lung, the cuff's inflated, so it comes back up through that ET tube and back to the vent, and we're getting an inflated volume of 500. Then we deflate the cuff. The vent pushes a breath, goes down into the lungs, but it doesn't get all down into the lungs because some of it comes back up around that cuff because we have it deflated and out through the upper airway. So what's coming back with the cuff deflated is only 475. Well, that makes sense, right? But here's the deal. Before you pull that tube, you want that cuff leak test to be greater than 15%. So let's see if it is. The way to do that is you take your inflated volume, which is 500, you subtract your deflated volume from it, which is 475, and we're getting a percentage, so we need to divide it by the inflated volume. All right, so when we do this, that top part of that's 25, bottom's 500, and when we run that percentage is 0.05 or 5%. This tells me right now we are not going to extubate that patient because there's something going on with their upper airway that if we pull that tube, that there's a high likelihood that the natural airway is not going to remain patent. Maybe there's some inflammation, maybe there's a little bit of epiglottitis. All right, so we're not going to extubate. And it makes no sense to put them back on VCAC because we've already liberated them from the vent. All right, so right now, don't extubate. You need to evaluate what's going on in the airway to keep us from being able to leak around that ET tube. Hope that's helped.